Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to our webinar today. My name is Isabel, coming to you live from our head office in Stuttgart. Today, I'm joined by my colleague Edgar. Our topic today is Records Management with the ELO ECM Suite. Here's a little more information for you before we start. You will be muted during the webinar, but are welcome to ask your question in the top right question box at any time. After the webinar, we will of course take the time to answer them. You hardly need to take notes. You will receive the training materials relatively soon. And now I'm looking forward to a great presentation. Welcome, Edgar. I hand over to you now.
Thank you and welcome from my side as well. My name is Edgar and today I will show you how records management with the ELO ECM suite can work and how you can establish a records management environment with our products. So, which topics will we cover? First of all, we'll have a look on what is records management. What are the things to consider when we are talking about records management in your company, in your organization? Then we'll have a look on records management with the ELO ECM suite, which things you have to think of, how you can establish an environment for records management in your company and with the ELO ECM suite. And then we'll have a look at our system in a live demo where I show you how it can look like when you do records management with the ELO ECM suite. Then we have some tips for best practice to establish an environment for records management in your organization, which things you have to think of, which steps are necessary for records management in your company. Then we'll have a look on our customers, which successfully implemented a records management environment in their company, and what are the benefits of those solutions. Then we'll have a look at the conclusion and benefits. And after this, we have time for your questions and answers. And if you have some questions during the webinar, just ask them in the question box in the GoToWebinar environment, and then we will answer them in the end. So let's start with what is records management. So records management is a broad name for many things which you can do. But when we look in our company, then we all work with records. We all have some documents and information in our company. So let's say this is a document which you received in some way. And the document can be an order or an order confirmation or a delivery note or an invoice or an email or a project document or something else. And the document itself isn't a record, but the sum of the documents is a record, maybe for a project which you are working on or for a purchasing process or something else. So the documents all together, they build a so-called record. And as I said, the record can be a purchasing record, can be a personal file, can be a project documentation or something else. The thing is, it isn't done with just putting them together in a folder and then you can call it records management. No, there's some things which are key components of records management. So, first of all, the creation of a record. When is a new record created? Does it start with a document which you receive? Does it start with a click on a button? Does it start with an email? Well, that's the first step, the creation. When is a new record created during daily business? Then the second thing is the classification. Which type of record are we talking about? Is it a personal file? Is it a purchasing record? Is it a project record? Is it a record for an invoice or something else. So the classification is a key component of records management as well. Then we have to think of the storage. Do we manage the records physical, or do we manage the records in a digital way? So storage, a key component of records management as well. Then fourth, the access and the retrieve of the documents. Who can access the documents? Um, can we retrieve the records every time we need them, or when they are stored physical in the basement? Do we have to go down there and then get it, or when we have filed it digital way or stored it the digital way, how can we retrieve those documents and those records? Who has the authorization for accessing those records? Then it's the usage. You have to manage how the records are used. Who can file documents in a record? Who can change something? Who can do what, and who has done what with the record can be an important information as well. And then maintain and preserve. Regular updates and maintenance on the records. And then it's the disposition, because when the retention period has ended, what should happen with the record? Can we delete it? How can we safely delete it? Or do we have to preserve them? Something like this. So those are the key components of records management, from the creation to classification to storing, accessing and retrieving the records, using the records, maintain and preserve, and dispose the records in your company. And on top of that, we have some compliance and legal considerations. Do we have to meet legal requirements? For example, for an invoice. You can't delete an invoice immediately after you have paid it in some countries because it's against the law. There are some regulations for specific documents in personal files, which you have to preserve for at least 30 years or something. So on top of those things, records management has some legal considerations as well. And there's a definition that records management is the supervision and administration of digital or paper records, regardless of format. Its activities include the creation, receipt, maintenance, use, and disposal of records. In this context, a record is content that documents a business transaction. And for this, you have to file them in some way. So to start with records management, the first thing you need is, well, when you want to make it the digital way, the first thing you need is the ELO ECM Suite, because the ELO ECM Suite is able to manage the records in your company. But the thing is, it's not only the software. You have to think of some things when you want to start with records management. First of all, we receive a document. And normally this is the start for creating a new record. And when you file a document, then you have to think of what's the source of the document. Did we create it ourselves in our ERP or CRM? Or did we receive it with an email because it's an order from a customer? Or did we scan it because we received it physical? Or did we create it from data in a database? Well, there are many sources for documents. Most of them, in the last 20 or 30 years, most of them we receive with an email when it's an incoming document. When it's an outbound document, then we create it, with an ERP or CRM or Microsoft Word or something else. But let's say we received the document with an email attached in an email. Then the second thing is, what's the type of the document? That's the classification. Is it a delivery note, an email, an invoice, an order confirmation, project document, an offer, of something else? This we have to think of when we receive the document. So let's say we received an order confirmation with an email. And that's the start for creating a record. Because in the document, you have some metadata in there. So you have some information in there. And this is what you have to add to your document. So we have our document. We have classified the document as an order confirmation. And now we have to fill in the metadata for the document. The first thing, the first information which we know is the date when the document was filed, because that's the date when the document was filed. So we received it with an email, and the email was filed automatically from your inbox, and that's the date when it was filed. Next information for our metadata on the document itself. So, for example, the supplier, the recipient, the order date, the order number, which can be typed in manually, or there are some ways to get those information automatically via OCR, and then we can fill in the metadata form automatically. And then there's a third information source which we can use. That's, well, an ERP, a CRM, or some sort of database where we can get with the order number the job number in this example. So the metadata should be filled out mostly automatically, because then you can prevent some errors. The metadata information is filled out automatically, and you can file the document without typing in something. So collecting the data from the document from different data sources, automatically or manual, doesn't matter. But we need metadata for this. So every document has a metadata form, and we have to fill them out in some way. And with this information, we can file the document in the right location. So, for example, with the supply information, the order date, and the job number, we can file the document in the right location in our repository. So with this, you can start creating a record with, well, the first step would be an order for sure, but with the document which you receive, you can create the record automatically. And then the document is filed with metadata information, and you can find the document itself in the repository. But there's more which comes with the document, which we will have a look at our presentation environment. So what you see here is our presentation environment, and I already prepared the client. I'm using the web client for this, and the web client is, well, the start point for the ELO ECM Suite. And there you can access different areas of ELO. You can access the repository, or you can search for a document. You can work with tasks, and you have some dashboards for invoices, for employees, candidates, and position, and so on. And what we now want to do, we want to have a look at our project record, which we created with the order confirmation right now. So let's say we received an email, and the email was filed in the repository automatically, and we found out that this is an order confirmation, and then we filed it in the proper location with the metadata information in it. Can be automated this way. Well, can't show you because it's an automatic process, wouldn't see many things. But the thing is, it's then filed in our repository, which we can access with our tile. And then we can go to Contilo Corp, that's the company we're working for. And then we have the projects down here. And then we have some folders for different years. And here we have this year, 2024. And here's our project with the project number P0158 ACME LLC. And then we have some subfolders, and that's a record. So the record contains different information, in our case, in different subfolders. You don't have to use subfolders, but it makes it a little bit more, you can get an overview much better because then you have the documents in the right position. And then here we have a folder for communication with some emails in it, which are filed automatically when we know where to file them. For example, we have here the emails in here. And this document, the question on the project number is filed automatically because we found the project number in the email, in the text of the email. And for this, it was filed automatically. For the other emails, we didn't find them in the email itself because it's just some weird stuff. But we added the information in the metadata form because even an email is filed with metadata information as well. And this we can see here with the right click, and then we go to the metadata. We have a short name, we have a date, we have a filing date, we have a sender recipient, the entry ID, which is created automatically. Conversation ID is created automatically as well. But here we have the reference, which we added manually to file it in the proper location. And for this, we have to know where it should be filed. When we don't fill it out, then the email is filed somewhere else. So that's just the example for an email. And when you want to do records management, then you have to think of the communication and the email and filing email in the repository as well, because it's part of the record. Because maybe you need the communication in some way to find out why something changed or why we got those information and something else. Then we have some delivery notes in here with its own folder. We have some invoices in here as well, which come from our business solution ELO invoice, which can be used for records management as well. So when an invoice is received, then a process starts, and then the document and the proper information is filed in the repository, and you can access them with not only the document, but you have a form for the information as well with the proper information for an invoice. But that's another topic. That's invoice management and can be used for records management as well, by automatically adding the invoices to the correct project in our case. And then we have the orders in here. And here's our order confirmation, which we filed earlier, which we received with an email. And thanks to the information which is filed here, or which is contained in the document, we could file the order automatically in the correct location. So that's what's technically possible with the ELO ECM Suite. Filing documents the easy way with automatic procedures, because when we receive an email, then we file it automatically. And when we can find out the proper information, in our case, it would be this number here, then we can file it automatically. When we don't find out the proper information in the email, then someone has to choose where the document or the email has to be filed. Other categories of documents like invoices or orders or order confirmation, we can file in the correct location by using the project number in our case, or some sort of unique number where we know where to file them. And that's always the thing which we should do, filing them automatically with no one having to add some metadata information, because then the documents are filed properly. What I didn't show you with the order confirmation, just wanted to show the metadata information as well, because it's not only the metadata information which we have here, but there's some more options which we can set and which depend on the document type which you're filing in your repository. In this case, it's the end of retention period, because in our environment, we have configured it that way. When a order confirmation is filed, then set the retention period filing date plus 7 years. And this is then filled in automatically. And we have a procedure when the retention period is received. Then we get an information that the documents will be deleted after someone had a look on them and said, okay, yes, we can delete them. So this can be done with the document type as well, depending on legal requirements and on the category of the document. So, some best practice for records management with the ELO ECM Suite. So, the ELO ECM Suite has some benefits when you want to start with records management. Everything is in a central repository. You can file your documents with metadata. You can categorize them with different metadata forms, with different information in the metadata form. You can streamline and automate the processes, and you can integrate the ELO ECM Suite in third-party applications, or you can reuse data, for example, from your ERP or your CRM. There are many more possibilities, for example, using AI for automatically analyzing the documents and its content and then filing it in the correct location, or some business solutions which you can use, for example, for your contracts or your invoices. But those are just the tools. And it's not only the tool which you need for records management, you need some more things to establish a records management solution in your company, in your organization. It needs a few more steps. Well, in fact, 5 more steps. Honestly, just 4 more steps, but the first step is very important. Because step 1 is find an ELO business partner. Because the ELO business partner can help you with establishing a records management solution in your company, in your organization. They know what you need, they know how to do it. And well, we have business partners in many countries around the world, and I'm sure there's a business partner near to you which can help you. The second step is you have to establish policies and procedures. Because in a record, we have different document types and different types of records as well. The first step, what our business partners normally do together with our customers, is they have a look at the records inventory and classify the records in the inventory, so the existing ones, and the documents in there. And then they can establish policies and procedures, what's happening when we receive a document. How can we identify that the document is a delivery note which belongs to this project, to this purchasing record, to something else? That's the procedure, how to file the information which we receive. Then we'll have to have a look on the retention scheduling, the records storage and conversion. How do we get them in there? Which formats should we file them? And who should have access to the information as well? And then we'll have to have a look on the life cycle and disposition. This normally happens during a workshop where the business partner has a look on your existing documents, on your existing records, and defines some policies and procedures how the records are created and for how long we have to preserve them. Then we have to do the organizational integration, which is, well, an easy part, as long as you collaborate with the employees in the company. Because when we make our workshops, or when our business partners make our workshops, they normally make them with the employees in your company in the proper department, because they know which records they have. They know the sources for the documents. They know sources for information. They know how the process is working. And they then can say how it would be best to start with records management with the ELO ECM Suite. So then we can define, okay, documents come in this way, information we can get from there, record is created then, and so on. Tailor the policies to the business needs, because your employees need a solution where they can work with the records and with the documents. And when they can make it easier, or when the solution makes it easier for them to file documents in a record or file some information in a record, then they will use it. So tailor the policies to the business needs. Embed the records management in daily activities. Some things may happen automatically with the ELO ECM Suite, but some things may need a manual process as well. And you have to embed those in the daily activities and integrate it in the business processes. So that's the organizational integration. Then step 4 is training and adoption. So provide comprehensive trainings for the employees, focus on the practical application for the proper department, and make ongoing education and support. So maybe you provide the trainings with an e-learning, which can be used in the ELO ECM Suite as well with the business solution ELO Learning. Then you can provide some e-learnings, and then they can attend the training on and on again when they need to, or when you have new employees. Then you have a learning path for them, so they know how to work with records management in your company. Can be done with the business solution ELO Learning, which can be purchased additionally with the ELO ECM Suite. And then you have to audit and review the processes and the records management in your company as well, because maybe there's some potential for continuous improvement, because processes change, technology changes as well. So maybe you can improve something in your records management solution environment. You can performance the metrics as well. Are records created? How often are they created? And why aren't they created? And so on. And you have to stay current with some regulations and legal requirements. So once a year or something like this, you should have a look on your records management environment to improve and adapt to new technology or legal requirements. So what do our customers say? Well, we have many customers which can be found on our website elo.com. But I've picked two of them from different countries, just to show you how records management can be established in a company, and what are the benefits of those or for those customers. First of all, we have Fondia. It's an Italian company in the public sector with, well, some 50 employees, and they digitized their own document archive. They had a huge document archive, which was filed physical, and they wanted to digitize it to to search for the information and to access the files much faster than before. And they not only use it for digitizing their existing document archive, they work with active documents in the ELO ECM suite as well. So they collaborate with each other. They use workflows for some tasks. So they not only digitize the existing documents, they work with new documents as well. And it was integrated in the business process, so the users use it. Another customer is Scania Switzerland. They create vehicle files or vehicle records with ELO. Documents which they create get filed automatically in the repository. They have two applications which they use regularly, and those documents are synchronized with the repository automatically. No one has to do something, and they have the vehicle records when they need it. And well, it's located in Switzerland. They have around 500 employees, and they use ELO for vehicle file management or vehicle records. So those are just two customers which we have. On our website, you can find more customers which use ELO as records management as well. Just visit elo.com and there you will find some more information. So conclusion and benefits. The ELO ECM suite can be used for automated classification and filing of documents to create records automatically. No one has to do something, or maybe some little steps to create the record. Maybe you start a workflow when a document is created or is filed in the repository, and then you click 2 or 3 buttons and then the record is created. It's the access to the records is controlled, so we have some rules. We have users and groups where you can set the permissions for records in the repository. Because, well, maybe not everyone in your company should have access to a project record or something, or a purchasing record. So this can be done with permissions with users and groups. You can meet compliance and legal considerations with the ELO ECM suite. We can have a look on the retention schedules and then safely deleting those documents and records after the retention period has ended. You can manage how the records are used, who can use it, how they can use it. You can even provide some forms for collecting information for your records as well. You can set some workflows to work with tasks in the repository and so on. So you can manage how the records are used. And then it provides a detailed audit trail and logs of usage as well. So you can say at any time who has done what and when with the records, with the information in the records management. So that's it with records management with the ELO ECM suite. Now it's time for your questions and answers. And as far as I can see, there are no questions so far. So if you have some questions, you can ask them now. And otherwise, when there are no questions, then, well, I say thank you for your attention and thank you for attending our webinar.
Thank you very much for this great presentation, Edgar. Now I would like to tell you about our upcoming webinars. We're currently planning new webinar dates, so stay tuned for more news. You can register on the website elo.com/webseminar. Please keep in mind you can register up to 1 hour before the webinar starts. Thank you very much for attending our webinar today. I hope to welcome you at our next webinar as well. And until then, have a great day. Goodbye.